what is the optimal lifting split, or what split should you follow? And this is really just whatever program you're gonna do when you're in the gym. There's a few things I would do in order to figure this out. So number one, a needs analysis. Pretty much what that means is, what are your goals? What are you trying to get out of this? You know, if it's hypertrophy, whether that be focused on a specific muscle like your chest, your back, or maybe you just wanna do your whole lower body, whatever it is, you need to figure out what are you trying to get out of whatever you're doing in the gym. Because if not, you're just wasting your time. This is obviously gonna be different for each person. You know, an athlete might have their goals surrounded around sports performance versus a gym bro who's trying to grow specific muscle groups versus a girl who is trying to grow primarily lower body, glutes, and whatever. So number one, needs analysis. Okay, number two, exercise selection. What are you actually doing during your workouts? So are you doing plyometrics? Are you doing compound lifts? Are you doing assistance exercises? Let's say you have a full upper body day. How many exercises are you doing for your chest, for your shoulders, for your back, for your arms? So that's what exercise selection is gonna cover. Number three, exercise frequency. Now this actually might be number two for a lot of people. You know, I understand people have busy lives and maybe the gym isn't really their main focus. So in some ways, it's better to figure out how many days a week can you work out before kind of worrying about what you're gonna do in the gym. You know, some people might only be able to make it 3 days a week, some people 4 days a week. And then for people that have more time and kind of place a higher priority on it, 5, maybe even 6 days a week. Number three, exercise frequency. Again, it can kind of be number two. It's interchangeable. All right, number four, you have exercise order. So what order are you doing the exercises in? I'm a big fan of putting the main priority in the beginning of the workout. This way you're not fatigued later on when you go to do it. So for example, if I'm doing a push day, I'm gonna prioritize my chest because I want my chest to grow, and I'm putting a higher priority on that versus my shoulders and my triceps. Wouldn't really make sense for me to start my push day with triceps and then hop into shoulders and then hop into chest when chest is my main goal to grow on all these days. That is going to be in the beginning. This also could mean if you're doing plyometrics, if you're doing strength training with compound lifts, or if you're doing assistance exercises, primarily it'll usually go, number one will be plyos. That's because they take a high amount of energy and you get the most out of them when you do them in the beginning versus being fatigued at the end of a workout. Number two would be power. Similar reason, it's high energy work. Not really great to do these in a fatigued state. You're kind of making yourself more prone to injury. Primarily, you'll see them at the beginning of a program. Number three will be strength. So you can do these with compound lifts, or you can do them with some assistance exercises. It depends. Like, for example, you could have dips in here. You could even have a barbell curl. It just depends. Are you trying to strengthen the muscle or are you trying to grow it? Now, the reason that there's kind of a difference is strength, you're gonna use lower rep ranges. So you're gonna go anywhere from 2 to 5 to 6 maybe. Whereas number four, which is gonna be assistance, think of this as kind of your machines, isolation work, anything where you're trying to isolate a muscle group to put a focus on it. And typically this will be hypertrophy work, or it could be muscle endurance. So anywhere from 8 to maybe 15 reps. So this is pretty much the order that one would focus on. Okay, number five, we have sets and reps here. At this point, we should know our exercise selection and we should know exercise order. Then we can assign sets and reps to that. And I'll go through an example at the end, but you don't want to just load everything 5 sets. You know, it really depends on what the goal is, again, which at this point we should have. Is the goal strength? Is the goal hypertrophy? Is the goal muscle endurance? Is it, you know, the beginning of the workout where you're putting a primary focus on it? Or is it the end of the workout where you're kind of just doing it like a burnout? Maybe something to finish off like a pump. It really just depends. Okay, number 6 is gonna be the total volume. Now that can be per workout, or it could be in a complete week of training. Obviously this is important because too little volume and you won't see the adaptation. Too much volume and you're making yourself prone to injury. So it's definitely something to consider. You wanna find a sweet spot with volume. Now let's use the example of myself. Right now, my primary focus is a little bit of strength work and hypertrophy. So I'm trying to grow my muscles. I am on a 6-day split right now. So if you wanted to follow a 6-day split, a common one you would see is day 1, push, day 2, pull, day 3, legs, day 4, push 2, day 5, pull 2, and day 6, legs 2, and then this day 7 down here is your rest. So this is a common 6-day split right here. This is more of a bodybuilder split. So the primary idea here is you're kind of hitting every muscle group twice a week. You're hitting each workout twice a week. So push, this is gonna be chest, shoulders, and triceps. Your pull is gonna be back, biceps, and maybe traps, rear delts. Legs, that's gonna be quads, hams, glutes, hips some love. Okay, so the idea here is I'm hitting every single muscle group. I'm hitting chest, shoulders, triceps, back, biceps, traps, quads, hamstrings, glutes, and hips, and I'm doing that twice a week. A lot of people feel like this is the optimal frequency. I actually agree with it. This is actually what I'm following right now, or similar to. I have going push, pull, legs, rest, repeat. So it's technically an 8-day split. This is an example of a 6-day split. So again, you would front load whatever the priority is. So let's say my shoulders need more focus versus my chest. I would start my workout with shoulders, then go into chest, then go into triceps, same thing for back and same thing for legs. Now it obviously depends on the person. Everyone has different needs, everyone has different goals in the gym. This is personally what I like because I'm hitting every muscle group twice a week. It's pretty optimal in the sense that as long as you do it, you're bound to grow. Changing this to a 5-day split, we're only gonna change a few things. So 5 days, this turns into rest, this turns into upper, turns into legs or lower. So going from 5 to 6, you see we just made a couple changes. So the front of the week is still gonna look like push, pull, legs. Now you have a rest day here, and then you have an upper and a lower day. Lower is pretty much just legs as well. The upper day is gonna consist of push and pull. So again, the needs analysis and the exercise selection comes into play here because what is your primary focus? If my shoulders are pretty developed, I don't really need to put a big priority on them. So maybe I completely leave them out of upper day, or maybe I only have like 2 or 3 sets. Whereas, I'm still trying to get a few sets or a few exercises for my chest and the same for my back. So again, it's gonna vary person to person. This is something that I would follow. So again, it's gonna vary person to person. If you're a girl, maybe your priority is your lower body. So if you're actually lifting 5 days a week, maybe you're gonna do something like lower, upper, lower, rest, upper, lower. So obviously this is different here. It's putting a primary focus on lower versus upper. So you're doing lower 3 days a week and you're doing upper 2 days a week. Your lower might look like this. If you think of the legs as 3 main muscle groups, you have quads, hamstring, and glutes. So I would combine the 2 like so. So maybe day 1 you have quads and you have hamstrings. Day 2 you have hams, glutes. And then on your last leg day, you have glutes and quads. So again, we're putting the primary focus of the workout in the beginning. This is an even spread. So let's say you wouldn't care about growing your hamstrings too much. You want to put a priority over your glutes. So you would put the glutes first over your hamstrings. My thought process in this is, okay, the first exercise that we're doing, let's make that the main focus so that at least we have a main priority for quads, hamstrings, and glutes all on their own day. And then the secondary muscle group that we're working on can get some assistance exercises just to make sure that you're touching the muscle twice a week. All right, so let's look at a 4-day split here. So we have upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest, rest. You can kind of play with the days however needed, but in an optimal sense, you're still hitting muscle groups twice a week. Now, here's where the needs analysis really changes because let's say you're an athlete, you're going for sports performance, you're gonna be doing more plyometric work, more strength work, and then hypertrophy would kind of be secondary. Whereas if you're just Joe who works in an office and you just want a big chest, you're gonna be doing a majority of hypertrophy work on these days to focus on getting bigger. The strength will be a secondary effect of it. But really the main priority for Joe would be higher rep ranges and he would front load whatever muscle group he wants. I still like this one because you're doing everything twice a week. You're getting activation twice a week. You don't have to wait a whole another week to hit the same muscle group again. All right, and last one I'll do, we're looking at a 3-day split. So we have upper, lower, rest, rest, full body, rest, rest. Now you could do this as push, pull, legs. I like this because again, you want to stimulate the muscle twice a week. I'm not a big fan of waiting a full week to touch up another muscle group. I think you're kind of leaving money on the table doing that. So upper body, lower body, 2 rest days should be ample amount of time to recover from these first 2. Then you're gonna hit a full body workout. Again, the main priority will be what your goal is. So for me, like I said, chest. So I'm gonna do chest in the beginning. Maybe I don't care as much about my glutes. I'm not touching my glutes on this day. I don't really care. A girl, maybe they're doing glutes first. But the main idea is to front load whatever the main priority or the main adaptation that you're trying to get out of the workout to the beginning. This way they give that the prime focus. You have a full tank of gas to do it. So here again, so we're hitting a full body workout, then you have 2 rest days to recover again before you're doing another upper and lower. Should be a fair amount of time to recover between these before you have to work out again. So again, I'm a fan of hitting every muscle group twice a week. Depends on how much time you have and what the main priority or the main adaptation you're trying to get out of your split.